Hello ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolescence and welcome back to another video. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate the support. And in this video, I want to take a moment to go over my top 10 fragrances by the company Labo. Now for those of you who don't know, Labo is a company that was founded a few years back and they have a laboratory theme about them. So here's where they're usually located on my shelves, but my shelves are empty at the moment because the fragrances are in this list. And the little bottles look like something you would find on the shelves in a laboratory. And when you go to their store, they're carried at Barney's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and they even have a boutique in the Soho section of Manhattan. They will compound the fragrance right in front of you. So they'll take the oils, the perfumer's alcohol, they put it in their apparatus, they bottle it in front of you. And there's also a level of personalization because you tell them your name and they will put your name right on the label. This is a company that I have been, I delved into it back in 2012. And I remember my first purchase from that company was Oud 27, and I was so intrigued by how different and how bold and daring that fragrance was. Over the years, of course, that has changed, so that's no longer my favorite fragrance, but it isn't in my list. And I'm very excited to go over this list. Hopefully, for somebody who wants to explore the house of Labo, this video will serve to be informative for you, and I hope that you walk away with it a little more educated on each one of these fragrances. So I'm going to get into the list. We don't have any honorable mentions, but I also do want to mention there are some that I love that I have not gotten around to purchasing. There is, of course, Gaillac 10, which was done by Annick Minardo. It was a collaborative effort. And then there's also Vetiver 46, which was done by the same individual who has done fragrances for Comme des Garçons, as well as, if I'm not mistaken, a Tat Libre d'Orange. That's a really nice smoky vetiver sort of scent. And I haven't gotten a chance to try one of the newer exclusives, city exclusive, Benjoin 19. But I've heard a lot of really great things about that one. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Number 10 on my list is a fragrance that I bought off a fellow YouTube fragrance reviewer. His name is Frunk. He goes by the name Frunkinator. And I purchased this fragrance from him because I wanted to expand, my collection of Labo fragrances. And this one really caught my eye. And what I like about it is that it has this marshmallowy sort of smell. The dominant note is orange flower. Anyways, the fragrance is called Fleur d'Orange 27. So this is the most concentrated note in the composition. Some might argue that it's usually not the one that you smell the most, and the 27 represents the number of ingredients in this fragrance. So that is my number 10 favorite fragrance from the House of Labo, Fleur d'Orange 27. Let me see what the next one on this list is. All the bottles look the same, so I have to read the label. Okay, so the next one on this list is a composition by a perfumer who I love. His name is Maurice Roussel, and he does a really good job at making sweet scents. This one, on the other hand, is floral, but it contains a flower that has a reputation for smelling fecal or animalistic, and that is the note of jasmine. In this particular fragrance, Jasmine 17, it doesn't smell fecal, it doesn't smell animalistic. As a matter of fact, it has a sweetness to it too. There is a little bit of vanilla in the base. There are 17 ingredients for this one. I actually purchased this one for my mother, and she has been wearing it a lot ever since, you can probably tell, but I have had it for a few years now. Number 8 on my list is a fragrance that I kind of wish I had a bigger bottle of. And this fragrance I wear when I don't want to wear another fragrance that was composed by this gentleman, and it's called Musc Ravageur. And it's released for the company Edition de Parfum Frederic Malle. Now this one was also done by Maurice Roussel, and it has a lot of the same ingredients, but it also has a note of, I think it's castoreum, either castoreum or civet, which gives it an animalistic vibe. I think it's castoreum. This one is called Labdanum 18. Labdanum is an exotic smelling sweet resin, and that's the most concentrated note in this one. But the reason why I like this one is because it has a lot of other sweet notes in the dry down. It's also very powdery. I personally really like powdery scents. Burberry Brit is one example of a powdery scent that I really love. And with this fragrance, I feel like it combines the best of both worlds. It has that powdery nature to it. It's a little daring because of the animalistic note, but it doesn't smell fecal and it doesn't smell skanky or dirty or anything like that. I think it's a really unique composition, and I think it very closely syncs up with Labo's mission statement to put out fragrances that are different and they stand out. The next one on this list, oh boy, here it is. Listen, I haven't worn this one in a long time. Occasionally I do apply it on skin just to remind myself what it smells like, but it's a bold fragrance. And I know other people out there who wear it with a great degree of comfort and confidence. You're a better man than I am. This one is too much for my blood. It's Oud 27. So it contains this note of oud wood or agar wood, which is a type of infected wood, and as a sort of natural defense mechanism, it develops a sort of mold or bacteria, and that's what gives it its characteristic smell. The way that it's used in this composition, it also has civet, which is extracted from the gland of the civet cat, and it's really skanky. It's really animalistic, and I wouldn't say it smells fecal, but it's just a little bit too strong for me. So for that reason, I don't wear it as often, and when I do wear it, I make sure to avoid wearing it in public, but nonetheless, it's a fragrance that I love. The next one on this list, let me check to see what it is. Oh yeah, I love this one. So this is a Dubai city exclusive. So another thing about this company is that once a year, right around the month of September, they will release all of their fragrances to the public. And in that month, you can purchase whichever fragrance that they have that you want. Otherwise, there are certain fragrances that they make exclusive to certain boutiques. So for example, there's a Colette exclusive called Another 13. The New York City exclusive, I believe, is Tuberose 40. This one is the Dubai City exclusive, and it's called Queer 28. So this is a leather-based fragrance, right? 28 ingredients in here. And what I like about this fragrance is that it's leathery, but it's not aggressive. A lot of the leather scents that you get out there are very raw and aggressive. This one has a smooth quality about it, but there is a sort of smoky undertone attributed to the note of vetiver. Really nice scent. Next one on this list, it's my number 5, right? This is the one that probably gets talked about the most. And it's a sensual fragrance. Some people equate it to the smell of body odor. I don't get that. I don't think you should get that either. But it does have a lot of spices in there. I think it's either cumin or coriander, maybe both. This fragrance is called Rose 31. I think rose is a brilliant note in perfumery. It's also one of the most difficult notes to use in perfumery just because it's so expensive and because it can have either one of two effects, right? It can make the fragrance quite feminine, or it can make it smell exotic and Middle Eastern and sensual, and I think the latter is applied here. It's a wonderful scent. If you are interested on a dirtier, spicier take on rose, this is the avenue to check out. If you want something a little bit citrusy, a little bit more appealing, lighter, more effervescent, a little more toned down, I would recommend you try Lyric Man by Amouage, the red bottle that you see here behind me. Number 4 on my list is another favorite exclusive of mine, and this is the London City exclusive. This is their pepper-based fragrance, and it's called Poivre 23. Poivre is, of course, a French word meaning pepper. And what I like about this one is that it has one of the nicest benzoin dry downs that I have ever encountered in a fragrance. For those of you who don't know, benzoin is a type of resin. It comes from a tree, and it has a vanillic overtone with a smoky nuance. Some people even go as far as saying it smells medicinal to them. I purchased a benzoin essential oil many years ago from this website called newdirectionsaromatics.com. And the benzoin that I smell in that essential oil is the exact same one that I smell here. And I have to be honest with you, I have encountered many fragrances in my lifetime that purport to contain benzoin, and then when I cross-reference it with that essential oil, it smells nothing like it. It probably contains an aroma molecule found within benzoin or a synthetic version of benzoin, but this is the one that very closely mimics the smell of the essential oil, and it smells amazing. Number 3 on my list, my wife stole it from me. I don't have it here. I am sorry. When I came to my studio today, it turns out that I totally forgot to bring this fragrance with me. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what it is. It's Santal 33, and that is their sandalwood-based scent. It also contains the note of papyrus, which is a type of paper, and it has a very sort of exotic smell to it. Some people go as far as saying it smells like a very expensive hamster cage. I don't see that analogy per se, but it does have a very unique smell to it. What I have seen is that a lot of fragrances have been mimicking that smell because it is such a unique smell. So there's one called Profile. I forget what the company is. The company might be Profile, but the scent itself is called Profile. There's also another one called Book by the company Commodity. It smells very similar to Santal 33. It's a wonderful sandalwood papyrus based scent. I would highly recommend it. Number 2 on my list is my staple for the summer. Those of you who have been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that this is a fragrance that I cannot go without having in my collection. It's one of the brightest, freshest fragrances in my collection, and probably one of the most organic interpretations of the note of bergamot right next to Xerjoff Neo, Bergamot 22. There's not much more to say about that. And my favorite Le Labo fragrance, I want you guys to guess. So leave a comment down below. I want to see how well you know me. If you didn't guess it correctly, that's okay. It doesn't really matter. But this is a fragrance that it was the second one that I ever purchased. And I remember, quick story, when I purchased Oud 27, where is it? When I purchased Oud 27, I remember leaving the store and I had sprayed my number 1 right here on the inside of my forearm. And I remember smelling it all the way home. I had gone into the city with my wife and we were in the car and I was occasionally smelling my arm. My wife goes, "What are you doing?" And then I remember thinking to myself, man, I probably should have bought this one. Well, 4 years later, and I have 15 fragrances by Le Labo. You can still see some here. I have some at my other place. Well, my number 1 is another composition by Nick Minardo, just like Gaiac 10, which I gave a shout out to. And this one I like because it is bold, it's daring, and I think it represents everything Nick Minardo is capable of doing with her perfumes. This one is called Patchouli 24. 4 notes in here that are publicly listed. There are actually 24, but 4 notes that are publicly listed, and they are vanilla, benzoin or styrax benzoin, patchouli, and birch tar. What I like about this fragrance is that this note of birch tar, it leaves such a smoky nuance and introduction to the fragrance. And the patchouli doesn't smell like a hippie patchouli. It doesn't smell green and earthy and organic. It has more of like an herbal, smoky texture to it. When it dries down, that blend of benzoin and benzoin and vanilla is one of the most beautiful, sweet, gourmand dry downs that I've ever experienced. This is also, I would go as far as saying, one of their most daring fragrances in their entire collection, right next to Oud 27. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you took something of value from it. If you own or have tried any fragrance by the company Le Labo, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and a lot of other fragrance related content. So remember, I smell well so you can smell good, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.